Happy whatever day this is for you. Welcome in. I am Celestial Earth, in case you haven't known, and we're talking about the divine, nurturing the divine masculine. This is the time. This is what we're being called to do. We're at this pivotal point right now, and the energies are saying, yes, it's time. We just had a full moon. We're still in the full moon energy, and there's a T square with Jupiter, who is in Cancer, right? And I dropped the video about it here on TikTok, so you'll be able to pick up that video when I was explaining it. And we're being asked to forgive the fatherhood wounds, meaning give love forward. We're being asked to remove our personal biases out of the way, regardless of what they have done physically, how the masculine energy has shown up physically. Right now, keep in mind that that the masculine and feminine energy is in all of us, in me and you. I have both masculine and feminine energy, and we have to respect the masculine energy. We can't just look at the representation or the symbolism of it, which is the man, right? Let's clarify that so we can be on the same page about what we're talking about. The masculine the masculine energy has a symbolism or a representative. The physical, literal representation of that is the manifestation of the masculine energy, is the male, is the man or the male, right? Gender. Whenever I'm saying divine feminine and masculine energies, though, I'm talking about the qualities, I'm not talking about the gender. And for the feminine energy, the manifestation thereof, the symbolism is the female, the woman, the womb man, right? So we have the womb man and we have the man of womb. All right, shout out to Yasif Buzu Buzu, who likes to say the man of womb and the womb man. So that is the physical manifestation of it. However, there are the energies that are moving, the energies in motion, and these energies are the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And so right now, what we're being called to do, we have to look at this multidimensionally as I'm speaking about this. We're being called to forgive, and I want to say this. I want to speak to the hearts of the women that have been broken hearted, that or have been hurt in either way by the male counterparts. But what the energies are asking us to do is to move beyond the wounds. This is why we have to heal unhealed wounds, process these unhealed wounds. It's asking us to move beyond the wounds and really see the fatherhood wounds that lie in them, right? And this is not to excuse misappropriated behaviors, but the energies are saying it's time for us to let go of the judgment and the condemnation, because it only blocks. Energetically, it blocks. It does not release. And it's asking for a release, right? And this is going to bring harmony too. And I'm not saying it's like a magical fix, that it's going to magically fix everything right away on spot. But the energies are asking us to take a stop, take a stock, and do your part. Starting first within the self, forgiving the self. Because believe me, however we hold judgment towards the male counterparts, it is because of a lack of respect for the divine masculine in you. And I know this may cut some people deep, it may hit a certain way, but we have to understand, overstand, and understand this is what it is. The wounds that are in us, we have to learn to respect the masculine energies within us, which is the creative activity. And if we don't, then we won't find harmony. And I'm speaking even on the level of those who are looking for love on outside of you. If you don't have a union within yourself, which means if you don't respect the masculine, and this means going beyond your perspective of any wounds that you may have in particular with you as well as in your bloodline. Some of the wounds that you carry are not yours for that masculine energy. Some of the wounds that you carry are coming through the motherhood womb, through the wounds within the womb that you have been birthed through with these wounds, that holds on to the hurt, to the pain that comes through the lineage of your maternal lineage, as well as all the women that have had their fair share, and the wounds of even the father's wounds that have not been good enough, the fathers that have been able to sit where that been sitting where they've been sitting because they have not been good enough. And we're talking especially particularly for the melanated, because slavery did a number on us as well. Let's not take that off the table. Let's not act like that's gone bye-bye yesterday. We are still having trauma in our blood through slavery. There are slave codes. There are slave wounds, or what I call slave trauma. Let me not say codes. There are slave trauma, ancestral trauma, when the men could not be men. Let me say that again. When the men cannot be men, they could not take care of the family the way they wanted to. They couldn't keep their family together if they wanted to. Least they lose their life, and some of them have. So they've been beaten and beaten and beaten down to not be the upstanding protectors that a lot of the women are looking for. Right? Let's not even mention the sex farms where they've been taught to disregard the woman, and the woman is only an object to have fun with so that she can get pregnant. Right? So there's this disorder. We got to understand, overstand, and understand there's a psychological thing that happens that goes on and on and on. Right? Keep in mind that what I'm saying now, again, is not to excuse misappropriate behavior, but it is to take us off the judging block. It is not for us to judge, is what I'm hearing the energy saying, is take our condemnation off of it. And for those of the women who have been healing, a lot of the divine feminine energy that has been pouring in, peace, love, and power, divine sistren. Thank you for joining. God Imaj. I had to put my shades and my glasses on to see. Right? Ashe, Ashe. Their hands were tied energetically, and even now, yes, a lot of them, their hands are tied even right now. Keep sending the hearts. The more hearts that we do, keep tapping, because that helps to open the pathways for those to find this frequency, particularly as we're speaking on this divine masculine. Does respecting the masculine include respecting the physical manifestation you're witnessing? Yes. We have to, and I'm saying this, I'm not telling you nothing I haven't done myself. It is this actual work that I have done in 2015 with myself. I myself is coming from a space of being, let's say, a man hater, or not having any sensitivity towards the man because of the way men do things, the way we see men do things. For those of us who grew up without present fathers, whether you're a man or a woman, we get bitter about it in some way, shape, or form. Men may carry it differently from women, but either way, it does a number on us when there is an absentee father. Even if the father is living there, yet they are still not there. They are not present for you. They don't show up for you, right? And a lot of times when we get older, we realize they didn't know how to, right? Coming from their fatherhood wound and their fatherhood wound and their fatherhood wound, and so on and so on. And so there's this wound, this continuum of a fatherhood wound that plays out and plays out. And it's been underneath, it has been programmed underneath the misappropriated patriarchal energy that has been happening since the age of the ram. The age of the ram was what really did the spin on implementing the diabolical patriarchal rule that did away with the divine feminine, that took the ankh, that took the loop off of the ankh and gave you a cross to bear. Literally has us bearing crosses to this day, right? I understand my dad don't know how to. Ashe, that's what we are looking at. And it's not to excuse, again, it is not to excuse, let me be clear, but it is to understand. Understanding is a quality of the divine feminine. These are healed divine feminines. Healed divine feminines understand. And I'm talking about men and women because I'm talking about the energy. The divine masculine, the divine feminine quality is about understanding. It is about intuition. It is about memory, unlocking the memories that we lock away because we don't want to feel. It is about feelings and emotions so that we can get the information through the energies in motion, right? The age of the ram is from where? The age of the ram is about 4,000 years ago. We're now in the Aquarian age. We just entered the Aquarian age and we just came out of the Piscean age. What Yeshua ushered in was the Piscean age. And I'm looking at 3-3. I love how YouTube just be highlighting my 3-3. 33, master number creativity, which is what we're talking about. The creative activity is the masculine energy. It is the way, the doer, the thoughts, the thinker, the doer. The feminine energy is receptive activity. It is the receiver of codes so that it can give you the information to create. This is the harmony between the two. This is how we get things done. This is the modality of manifestation. There has to be receptivity of information. That is what the divine feminine is. That is what we represent physically now. And that's why a true harmony is when the male counterpart can adhere to the female counterpart, because she is more likely close to getting the instructions. Not to say that a man cannot get it, because in his feminine energy, he receives information as well. It's just that because we are the female is the actual manifested counterpart, or not counterpart, but the manifestation of this feminine energy, we receive it more readily. Let's just say we're more aligned with it, like naturally. Just as the masculine, the men are more aligned with the masculine energy to do the creative activity. That's why they are to get things done. We give the information through receptivity and they create, they get things done. And so it is within yourself, within our own consciousness. The part of us that receives is our feminine energy. And then it passes it over in our consciousness to the masculine energy. Hence Eve passing the fruit over to Adam. Eve represents the receptivity. She receives the sensations of what is going on in the world. This world, this is why we're sentient beings. We receive information through feelings, sensations, which is what the snake represents. So the snake receives, the snake is the sensations. Whatever happens in our external world gives a sensation, gives a vibrational sensation, whether you feel it literally. When someone touches you, you feel a sensation, or whether you feel it emotionally when something happens to you and it hits your nervous system emotionally. But that is the sensation. That is what the serpent represents. And Eve represents the feminine energy that receives the sensation. That's why she's the one that sees the snake. That's why she's the one that is communing with the snake. She's communicating with the sensation. And then that feminine energy brings the sensation, the information of this through the sensation to the masculine energy, to label it. That's why it says Adam named everything. To label it, to give it its label, to do something with it, to think about it. She feels, he thinks. And I'm speaking about our consciousness. She feels within you, she feels, he thinks. Right? Gratitude. You're welcome. We're welcome. Glad you could get that. So yes, faithfully, you get what I'm saying about the age of the ram. So that's the age of the ram. And we're still unwinding the shadows of the age of the ram. Right? And because of the misappropriations of the age of the ram, the patriarchal rule that completely twisted, perverted the ways, brought us into the Piscean age, which is what Yeshua ushered in. But it was also, we dropped into the shadows of the Piscean age because of the shadows of the ram. And that's what we're releasing right now. This is why I love that Chiron is in Aries right now, because it's really breaking up some ish. It's the wounded healer. And it's helping us to break up all these wounds that we done picked up from the age of the ram, all these falsified doctrines and informations that held us bondage in these fatherhood wounds. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, thousands of years ago, we're talking thousands of years ago, worth of trauma, collective imprint that we are still living in and through. And this is why we got so much to do. Ashe, this is why we got so much work to do. The ram, Aries, yes. Head, Pisces. Pisces, the feet, yes. You got it, you got it. Right? Wounds are falling off, yes. And that's what I was seeing in the dream as it was happening. So that's what, since we got everybody here now, I could share more. I didn't want to go too deep into it until most of you all were here. So Erica, welcome in. Tap some hearts, tap some hearts. We're talking about nurturing the divine masculine energy through the divine feminine. So what was happening, this was about 3 nights ago when I got this dream. Before I go into it, let me make sure I answer comment here. Welcome in, Rashad. Join in, give some hearts. We're talking about nurturing the divine masculine energy through all this divine feminine that has been pouring in. So ultimately we're talking about the sacred union. There's not one that's better than the other. It is a sacred union between the two. But in order to get to this sacred union, it is time, divine feminine, to nurture the divine masculine, to release the codes, to release and give the ease, to take the fatherhood wounds that it's been carrying thousands of years off of its back. It is time to give it the correct information to allow it to be free. Ashe? So we must respect the survival mechanism. Yes, there is a survival mechanism, and we want to respect what has been put there. Respect how they have survived, how we all have survived, how our ancestors have survived through these fatherhood wounds. There is a survival mechanism that was put in place. It does not excuse misappropriated behaviors, but how are we going to learn if we don't implement the nurturing aspect? If we just continue to condemn, and blame, it's only going to put them in a space of being defensive. Because if someone keeps doing this to you, you're going to curl up, you're going to be defensive. Let's just be real about it. And so it blocks room to be accountable. It blocks them having the room to just breathe and recognize what has been happening and what they are a product of, to even recognize the monsters that they have become, if they're willing to recognize that. Again, I'm not saying all men are monsters. I'm talking about this fatherhood wound that lives in the wounded masculine energies of us all, even the women. The women as well are suffering the fatherhood wounds and the disrespect of the masculine energy even within herself. This is why we have women who are overly masculinated. This is why we have men who have been emasculated by these masculinated women and end up completely being effeminate, right? There's a reason why we're seeing the things that we're seeing in this world, and it's not just for the sake of we have the right to be who we are. There is an order. There is a natural divine order, as I'm explaining to you. And there's no way around it. This is the modality of the universe. The modality of energies is masculine and feminine, and they have to be in a harmony. Right? As I always like to explain it, it's like a battery in a car. It's the plus and the minus. It's the negative and the positive charge. And as it is, it exists in us, it exists in the earth, and it exists in the sun. The sun gives off negative and positive charges as well, because that is the communication of the universe. The creative and receptive activity. It's all synonymous. Plus and minus. negative and positive, masculine, feminine, receptive, creative, will and understanding, intuition and ego. I could go on and on. There is this balance, this harmony. And so I go back to explaining about the battery. It's like the battery in the car. The modality of the car cannot move without a battery. That's the charge. There has to be a plus and minus, or else it's not going to move. You cannot have a battery that's plus and plus. Let me let that sink in for a minute, because I want us to understand this. We need to stop thinking selfishly about how we want to show up in this world according to our comforts and our preferences of what you think is a preference, because you don't really know yourself and you don't really know the modality that we function in. Look at it as the reality of this is the modality of the universe. There is no flow. You're going to block the flow of life, energy, force, however you choose to look at it. The battery cannot move if it's a plus and a plus. If it's a masculine and a masculine. If it's a creative and a creative. If it's an ego and an ego. The battery is not going to go if there's a minus and a minus. Right? If there's a feminine and a feminine. If there is a receptive and a receptive. If there's an intuition and an intuition. And I can go on and on. Take this where it resonates, because I know a lot of people don't like to hear that part, because living in this world, we want to be able to live the way we want to live. And we all have the right to do so. It's all choice, free voice, however you want to look at it. I'm simply breaking down that this is the modality of the universe. Great order of divinity. There's no way around it. Ashe, let me see what you were saying here. No excuse. As divine masculine, we must hold those who have fallen a victim to the wounds accountable. Ashe, there is accountability. And that's why we have to allow the feminine to, let me put this down, to nurture this divine masculine, to give it room, to give it, notice I'm saying it because I'm talking about the masculine in you, to give it room to assess itself, to recognize it has been under some fatherhood wounds, so that it can hold itself accountable in you, in me, in we, in the men, in the women. We have to give space and room for this accountability, for there to be breathing space for this accountability to happen. Self-accountability as well. Sacred salute, Celestial Earth. Thank you. Thank you for coming through. I'm glad you see this. Thank you, God Image. Am I saying that right? Thank you for being number 2. Go ahead and continue to send some hearts so we can keep the algorithms open so that people can find this frequency, because believe me, I know a lot of people need to hear this. I do. Share the like if for someone who you know needs to hear it, because this is something that not a lot of people look at. Transmitter and receiver. Ashe, that's what we are. A transmitter and a receiver. Thank you, Royal. Keep tapping it up. Fastmus, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. We're talking tap some hearts, grab some hearts on the way through if you're just passing through, so it helps open it up for someone else. We're talking about the divine masculine, nurturing the divine masculine within you so that it can be nurtured on the outside of you, so that it can be nurtured within your family, within your family trauma. Believe me, families are suffering through this. Relationships are suffering through this trauma, and it's saying that it's time to nurture this, right? So you're telling me that if a man isn't willing, ready, and in the acknowledgement that to die protecting your family makes him a man, he is not being a man. Let me make sure I understand that. So you're telling me that if a man isn't willing and ready in the acknowledgement that to die, meaning he acknowledges that to die protecting your family makes him a man, then he's not being a man. I would say it depends on how you're looking at it. Hey, Infinity, you're here. I was going to say Xfinity. Xfinity, Infinity. No, you are infinite. Thank you for coming through. User 08X5X. Thank you for joining. Drop some hearts so more people can find this frequency particularly. So it makes him a man. What I want to say, what I'm hearing in the energies is that it's time to stop having the men feel in bondage of this thought that I'm not a man if I don't acknowledge that I gotta die protecting my family, and if they don't, they feel less of a man, depending on what die means for them, right? They do recognize they're a man to know that they can protect, and that is the natural feeling, to protect. So if they can't protect, if there's anything that is preventing them from protecting, it does hinder the masculine energy. It does extract a little from the masculine energy. So as a man, if we feel, I'm saying we, like I'm speaking for the masculine in me, if we feel like we can't protect, because that's part of the masculine energy, the feminine is nurturing more, the masculine is protecting. And if you notice, they're both one and the same. When we nurture, we protect. When we protect, we nurture. You see why we need that harmony? But the masculine is usually representing, the male is usually representing physically this protection. So if he feels like he can't protect, it starts to take away from his sense of self, his identity body, his solar plexus gets attacked. And so if in his identity he does not feel like himself, he does not know who he is, then how can he be the best that he can be? If as a child, a little boy cannot protect his mother, just imagine the dynamics, the different dynamics that we grow up in. If you feel like you can't protect, let's say your mother, you're in a abusive relationship, a house that is abusive, and even this father has been abused. That's why he abused. Hurt people. It's something that continues to pass down. Does it make it right? No. But let's say you were that child and you witnessed this, and you could not, the child, everybody's affected here, right? Everybody's masculine is getting hit right here, right? Let's look at that. Let's look at the masculine energy in a household that grows up with abuse, domestic abuse. The man who is abusing is coming from a fatherhood wound and has not himself been able to feel like a man, and this is the only way he knows how to gain back any type of self-respect within himself, within his imagine how shot his solar plexus is for him to feel like this is how he can be somebody, this is how he can feel powerful. He has to be abusive, right? The woman, her masculine energy, which feels like she can't even protect herself nor the children at times, so her masculine energy is shot as well. She has no respect. She can't respect this physical man. She may be forced to, but she inside of her, she's losing respect, and she doesn't have respect for her masculine energy within herself to even protect herself in a particular way to get out of it, or however it looks. The young boy, the young boy or children, let's say the children, they cannot protect the mother. They're witnessing this, and the masculine energy in them cannot protect. So again, there's a double down of another little boy that's coming from a father who was once another little boy that could not protect. And so there's this wound that carries out, this fatherhood wound that continues and continues. And it's time for the child now. Let's say the child grows up, and now it's time for the child to look at this father, knowing that this father this is where we respect the survival mechanism, stepping out of its own wounds and recognizing the nurturer in him now, the nurturer in this little boy who is now grown up, the divine feminine in him, if he has allowed himself to heal and receive information through his divine feminine, has to play a mature part now and release those wounds off of him, as well as his mother and his father. He has to recognize that his father was in a survival mechanism mode, not that it excuses him, not that his acts are forgivable, but you forgive the hurt person who was doing the hurting. you release them. You release them from the condemnation and all the other negative thoughts that you may have had about him. However wrong that he was, you don't hold him up to that. You now nurture him and hold him in a light. You are reminding him, and even if you don't say this verbally, we're doing this energetically. You're nurturing their wounds and you're saying, you are loved. You have always been loved. You just didn't know how to receive it. You are allowing yourself in the divine feminine to nurture the wounds of this father, the fatherhood wounds, so that it gives space within the divine that is always already giving grace. Ashe? Let me see. I know I missed some of what you all were saying, but I didn't want to lose what I was saying. Thanks for joining, Rashad. Fastma said, just posted today's local gas prices. We need to stop being normal. No longer, let me see, no longer accept. Yes, we need to stop being normal. We're beyond normal, right? No longer expect is what I would say, because it depends on what you say accept. Because acceptance is on the love frequency. So I do practice acceptance. I don't practice expectation. But if you're talking in terms of stop accepting what is less than, then yes. Ashe, ashe. You're speaking on it. Thank you, Royale. The dynamic. Yes. Can you see the dynamic of it all? The masculine feels powerless. Exactly. And this is why we have to nurture the divine masculine, the energy stream of the divine masculine. And we have to look at this multidimensionally. We have to be willing to look at it. When I say I saw this, I saw it on such a level of, let me just give it to you as I was going to give it to you before. I'm going to share with you the dream, because the dream is what really hit. And it wasn't just a dream. It was a combination of some things. It was something that I watched, right? And I'm going to tell you exactly how it happened so you can kind of see it for yourself, right? I've been craving the nurturing aspect and did understand which aspect of me needed nurturing. Ashe to that. If you can see that, even greater. Recognize what parts of you need to be nurtured, in particular to the fatherhood wounds, right? It makes sense why I couldn't pin it. I was looking at the feminine. See, this is why I felt like I was called to talk about this divine masculine, because I know a lot of us have been looking at the feminine. Oh my gosh, so loud, obnoxious even. A lot of us have been looking at the feminine, and when we think of wounds, we tend to look at the feminine, and especially now we've been looking at the maternal lineage a lot, particularly with Jupiter in Cancer, which is more the maternal, the nurturer, the mother, right? And emotion. So it's more feminine energy. However, Cancer is also the house of the home life, right? And we're talking the immediate home, the expanded home, the familial home, the ancestral home. And that's why ancestral things are coming up a lot more lately too. So we can remove these things from the ancestral traumas, because a lot of this is within the blood, coded within the blood, ancestral trauma. Ashe? I know I got to get to so I'm going to share with you all the dream. Let me answer this. As a little boy, I took on motherhood wounds, pervertibly, protecting my mother, perverting my self-identity. Ashe, that's exactly what I was talking about in the example with the little boy. So whatever wounds that you have had through the mother, even how the mother has felt about the father while she was pregnant with you, those issues, they rub off on you. And so you come out of the womb of the mother protecting those motherhood wounds, right? And then sometimes it depends on how close you are to your father or not. Sometimes we are carrying the fatherhood wounds as well. We protect the motherhood wounds and we carry the fatherhood wounds. And a lot of times we're not looking at the fatherhood wounds because we're only looking at the motherhood wounds, especially if you were raised with your mother, more so and particularly. Even though the masculine been picking through, I was hushing the masculine down. See, we were quieting. See, we often don't want to listen to the masculine. It's a lot of times, sometimes it's very knee jerk. Like, it's like, be quiet, pipe down, you the man, who cares? Like, we gotta take care of the woman, take care of the women and children, and the men get left out, right? So a lot of times we're not looking at the masculine energy. The masculine energy gets left out, right? Let me see what else we have. From the information from the placenta, which is more paternal, from what I understand, it's important, Ashe, because there's that paternal, there's the paternal, the DNA and all that is wrapped up in the placenta. Remember, when they make a child, they leave that DNA with you. I don't know how many people are aware of that, but when you have a child, they don't just drop that sperm. Like, they leave their DNA with you. When you have a child with a person, you have taken on some of that DNA. Like, that DNA has now embedded in you. All right. So yes, it is also from the paternal, Ashe. That if we don't know our father, we should still do the study to understand who he is or was. Yes, God, that part. Even if you don't know your father, do your best to find out as much as you can about him. And if you can't find out about him through people around you, then ask in spirit. Believe me, when you truly mean it, spirit will answer you. Ask in spirit, ask the divine to show it to you in dreams, in visions. Allow yourself to start to recognize, if you know any of the family members, start to see your father through the family members. Start to understand through the family members who this man was, right? As much as you can, peeking through, yes. They get sat down. Ashe, yep. We put them on the back burner, and this is why it's so needed right now. So let me share with you where this was coming from. Like I said, when I got this, I was like, I know we got to talk about it. I know I got to share this. So about 3 nights ago, the dream came. Mind you, before I went to sleep, there was something that I was going to watch on, I believe it was YouTube, and it was something about fatherhood wounds. It was a message particularly about fatherhood wounds, and it kind of struck me. And I was like, I'm going to watch this. Peace, love, and light. Chef, how you doing? Welcome in. Tap some hearts so that more people could find this frequency. We're talking about nurturing the divine masculine energy. And so I saw it and it drew my attention. I said, I'm going to listen to this. But I ended up falling asleep as I put it down. And I didn't even listen to it at all. And so I woke up out of this dream, and I could feel it was multiple dreams. But the last one is the one I could remember the most. But it was multiple dreams, same theme. I kept feeling the masculine energy, the men. Particularly in the last part of the dream, I remember this man that in the dream I didn't know, but it feels like in spirit I knew. And I was treating him with a certain type of forgiveness, as if like it feels like there was something that this person had done to me. But in this now moment, I was treating him with so much respect and so much honor, regardless of what had been done to me. It's almost like I was being guided, like spiritually guided to, I felt like I was getting instructions, like simultaneously while I'm there in the dream with the person. And it was in front of the witnesses in the dream who I remember sitting there. My mother was sitting there, and I had an aunt sitting there across, right? And this is an aunt who in real time I've been having issues with. And this aunt is very masculinated, very, very masculinated. This is my maternal side of the family. I want to say it almost felt like it was my grandfather, but way in his 20s or 30s, like a man before I knew him, which is why probably in the dream it was like, I don't feel like I know him, but I don't feel like I know him, but I feel like I owe him. Right? That's what it felt like. Like, I don't know him, but I owe him. And spirit was putting it on me in the dream to be very honorable to him, regardless of what had been done. So apparently maybe there were things that he'd done that had offended my mother, maybe offended my aunt. They're in their fatherhood wounds, but in front of them, I am treating him in this particular way. And there was something that was said, I believe, from my aunt, and I said something back to her where it was like, no, this is the way. It's almost like she was kind of saying, you shouldn't do that. And it was like, no, this is what needs to be done. And I stood by it, and I was very firm and assertive in saying this is what needs to be done, whether you understand it or not. Like, clearly there's something you all miss, and I can't live by your example because there's something that you all miss, right? This is why they're so masculinated, and she's more masculinated than I would say than my mom. My mom is very passive, masculinated, right? She doesn't try to emasculate men, versus that my aunt is, she will emasculate. My mom is more of passive to a fault, and the masculine energy in her is more like, well, we don't need a man to do it. They kind of have that theory. We don't need a man. We don't wait on men. We do things ourselves. Very self-sufficient. And while that is good, right, there are some women, maternal families like that. While it's good to be self-sufficient, at a fault, it pulls away from the man. It does not allow a man to be a man. So when you meet a good man, you won't be able to keep a good man because you don't know how to allow that man to be a man, because you want to step in front and get it done and you don't trust him. So whatever all these reasons could be, right? So these are the things that chisel away at the masculine energy. These are the things that we do that we don't realize, that we are tearing apart more of the masculine energy. We're emasculating that masculine energy even more, which means we're not respecting it. There has to be a healthy balance. You can hold them accountable, but you still have to allow them, respect them to be a man, to be the creative activity. And we can't do that when we're caught in our wounds, holding up fatherhood wounds and motherhood wounds, and not allowing the forgiveness, the giving love forward, the love frequency to allow the harmony between the two. So we have to allow this feminine energy to nurture it, to nurture the masculine energy, regardless of what they have done. Like I said, I know this rubs some people the wrong way. I'm speaking as a person who has been hurt over and over and over again by men. You're looking at someone who was an avid man hater, that had a little chain that said, trust no man, right? And I would treat men worse than they would treat us. Like, I'm coming from that. So I'm not telling you nothing that I have not grown through, that I have not revealed to heal. We have to be able to find that space within ourselves. We have to forgive and give that love forward. We have to nurture. Nurture comes with understanding, which is standing under truth principles. And when you know the truth of where it's coming from, then it helps you to be a little more understanding. Again, I'm not saying excuse behaviors. I'm saying be understanding of the way that it has been coming through. Be understanding of the fatherhood wound that has caused hindrance on this masculine energy, to allow it to be the masculine energy that it is here to be. Ashe? Let me see what I've been missing. I see I've been missing something. I was recently reflecting on a dream I had of my father as a child. It was two of him. See, you were seeing both of him. You're seeing both aspects of him. You probably was seeing a younger version and an older version, or a masculine and feminine of him. Thank you, Rashad, for the rose. Thank you so much. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep the hearts coming. Because the more we tap it up, the more people will be able to find this frequency. They were brawling, and after both, they were fighting. After both were telling me to come to them, I went to the righteous father. Ashe, and you were able to recognize which one it was after seeing them brawl. And this is what's happening in the masculine energy. There is a brawl. They are fighting themselves. They are fighting within themselves. We are fighting ourselves within the masculine energy. There's this brawl going on because we feel the feminine energy pouring in. But the part of the masculine that's really bruised, that wants to hold on to the dysfunction, doesn't want to let go. So there's this brawl within ourselves, within the masculine energies, amongst the men, between the men, and within our masculine, within ourselves. Didn't understand a dream until I understood my father. Ashe, Ashe. This is why the understanding is that important. In all my getting, what does it say? In all your getting, get understanding. Yes, gotta understand. Get your understanding. You have to understand to overstand to understand. Right? Stand under those truth principles so you can stand over the BS, so you can have an understanding of what really is the truth, then the understanding. Ashe, Ashe. Yes, Chef. We are who we are. Right? Thank you. Thank you for joining in, Tarp. I think that's what it says. Tarp, go ahead and tap it up, tap it up, tap up the hearts. It helps to keep others finding this. Ooh, I just saw, ooh, what do I see at the top? I see 33 and 22. Again, there's that 3-3, the creative completion. Remember, as I said, the masculine energy is the creative activity. And what are we talking about? This masculine energy. And if you want it to be the creator, if you want to be the creator that you're here to be, we have to respect that masculine energy. And the respect is going to come through the nurturing. It's not going to come through logic, right? That's the ego, that's the masculine mind. It's not going to come through logic. We're not going to be able to logisticize our way through this, right? Logically, we're going to look at, but this happened and that happened and you're wrong and this person's wrong. And so we're still going to want to have condemnation. We're still going to want to point and be the judge, rather than allowing the universe to judge. The universe is all knowing. We don't have to put our hands in it. When we do that, then we become misappropriatedly egoic, and we become the misappropriated masculine. So it's not for us to condemn. Sacred salute. Thank you for returning to the divine balance, Sistren. Ashe, I had to. This is what happened to me in 2015 when I had to. So let me finish the dream. So in the dream, I was saying that, no, this is how it has to be. And when I woke up, I felt the prominence of that dream. And then I couldn't remember the other dreams, but I could feel the theme. And it felt like all the other dreams, they had something to do with respecting this masculine, honoring this masculine energy no matter what. That was what I was hearing in the lesson throughout it all. So as I got up now, I decided to listen to that, what was it again? It was like a meditation transmission type message about fatherhood wounds. And when I listened to it, I felt myself releasing some more from myself. Even though in 2015, I had a whole divine sacred union, a whole sacred matrimony between my masculine and feminine energies. I literally married myself in 2015. If y'all want to know what that looked like, we could talk about that another time. We could talk about how to marry yourself, how to have this sacred matrimony within your own soul. And so I had done it then, but this time as I listened to this meditation, which I know it was some type of activation transmission, I felt myself releasing some more on another level of the fatherhood wound, to the degree that it goes deep into the bloodline. Like I felt myself forgiving ancestors that I don't even know, and I could really feel it. I felt myself forgiving and nurturing and being so understanding towards the paternal lineage. It now had me looking at the paternal lineage, and forgiving them, seeing them. It's like in that instant I could feel all of it all together, feeling their pains, feeling the ones who didn't feel good enough, who did what they did because they didn't know how to show up, and they didn't have any understanding around them. There was no on-site nurturer that can help them balance it in the now moment. And what Spirit was showing me is that's how it perpetuates. That's how it continues, and that's how it perpetuates, because there's no one to give them what they need in that moment. Ashe, let me see what you were saying. Continue, keep tapping the hearts, tap it up, so that others can find this frequency, because I know it's not easy for us to look at it. Thank you for those who are sticking with it and seeing that this has some resonance. This is truth resonance. I've been walking with you in spirit since my brother shared your works on Facebook a few years back. What? Thank you, God. Imaj, what? Facebook, that's real bad, because I literally am just coming off Facebook since I turned more into TikTok, because Facebook was becoming a little bit more like toxic energetically. I was feeling energetic attacks and things like that, like from family and friends and things. So it was like, let me just hop off this right now. So I'm there, but not as present as I used to be. But thank you, and thank your brother. Thank your brother too. Send him my love and light for sharing any works that I have done on Facebook. That's an honor to feel that as well. Thank you for honoring my divine masculine, because that's the creative activity. So when I'm doing that work, I'm in my creative activity. 3-3. Rock on. Oh, we gotta link up. God, Imaj, we gotta link up. Somehow, some way, message me. I also have 5D calendars. Let me use that to just plug in what I have going on as well, since I'm seeing the works. I have 5D calendars to help get us off the Gregorian, timeline and onto a truer timeline. I have workshops that I do with the energy centers, as I'm an energy alchemist. So with the full moon, the next one is coming up in June. And we have a retreat coming up in Jamaica the end of April. So if any of that resonates with you, if something you're into, and this retreat is an ancestral passage retreat. So the very thing that I'm talking about now, in this retreat, we're going to be opening up some more of these codes, because the ancestors in time are the codes in our bloodline. So we're going to be able to tap into those codes by returning to those ancestors. Even if you're not from Jamaica, ancestors know how to reach out to ancestors. We're just putting ourselves in a space and opening up a portal for us to be able to allow our ancestors to reach each other and open up the codes that we need. And so this is a very pivotal moment where we're going to be able to look at our paternal ancestry as well. So yes, as I said, I was feeling it in this meditation all the way down the line. Yes, can't lead with logic. Ashe, that part. We cannot lead with logic. It has to be intuition. It has to be intuitively being guided. Reasoning rather than logic. Ashe, Ashe, Aja. You're highly welcome, sister, and we will do. Yes, please do. Tap in, message, any one of these things that you feel that works with you. I also do one-on-ones. So if anybody wants a one-on-one natal reading or a one-on-one, just spiritual guidance into the fifth dimension, one-on-one in the ancestral direction, all of that I'm able to do one-on-ones with. So feel free to message me or email me at akilatextri@gmail.com. That's AKILAHTEXTRI@gmail.com. Right, so whatever works for you. I'm seeing so much threes right now. Like all the threes are up right now. Throw up your threes. Let me get some threes in the chat. Since we're seeing so many threes, let me see some threes. How have you been seeing the threes? Drop that in the chat. Whether you've been seeing 3-3 or 3-3-3, 3-3-3-3. Have you been seeing 3-0-3, 3-1-3? Like, how have you been seeing the threes? 3-2-3. Sometimes I see that 3-2-3. Let me see what have you been seeing? Drop your threes in the chat. 3-3-3 is the trinity of creative completion. That's a triple creative completion right there. That is the trinity of it. Bringing it all together. Creative completion times 3. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. Anybody else? Let me see what we got. Throw your threes in the chat. I was gonna see the threat. Throw your threes in the chat. 3-3-3, 3-4-3, and 3-2-2. 3-4-3 is the foundational balance within the creative completion. So when you see 3-4-3, that's what you're seeing. You're a foundational balance, or it's calling you into a balance, foundational balance within the creative completion. Right? And the 322, I'm seeing 22 is master builder. So you're seeing creative, the creative completion. You're seeing 3, the creative completion with a master builder behind it. Right? 3 3, you've been seeing 3 3 The 33 is the master creativity. Master creativity. 3 is the triple, as I just said, the triple creative completion. My first football was oh snap. Let me see. First football was 33. 33. Your number was blue 33. I don't know if that's what they be yelling on there. I just be hearing blue 32. Right, like we had someone in here, Q32. LP 6, and 6 is receptive completion, which is another 3. Right, it is a 3 times 2 receptive completion in the next major dimensional portal. And the 15 is a 6. 1 and 5 is a 6. So again, we see the 3s within it all. Ashe. Your boy I am. What's up, your boy I am? Thank you for the follow. Tap, tap, tap. Continue to tap the hearts to keep it open for those who are finding the energetic algorithms to find us here while we're talking about the divine masculine, nurturing the divine masculine. Right? So as I was saying, thank you for dropping your 3s in here. Oh, you've been seeing, I almost forgot. Let me look at this one. 313. 313 is unification within the creative completion. So unification, that 3 that comes back into the 1, unification within the creative completion. 323 is the duality of harmony within the creative completion. So you have that duality of harmony. You're seeing that. And when you see these numbers, it's either that you have it, or you're witnessing it, or it is saying to you, it's calling for you to do this. Right? So you might see 323 and the energies may be calling you to say, hey, come to a harmony of duality within the creative completion. Or it may be actually happening, right? Thank you for the 3s, y'all. I've been seeing 383. I've been seeing a lot of 33s, right? The master creativity. So as I was saying, with this masculine energy, as in this meditation, really feeling down the line, down the lineage, the ancestors, the fatherhood wound, I felt like instantaneously this forgiveness, like I felt my heart expand. This is about heart expansion, right? And we've just come through, we're still experiencing heart expansion post third eye atlas leaving our solar system. We're still feeling the effects of third eye atlas, in our solar system. So the heart expansion, we're in a space where as we are in this heart expansion, I'm feeling like the energies are saying that's why now is the time. Because we're in this heart expansion and we're in a space of spiritual maturation, which is what third eye atlas came to amplify. And particularly with Jupiter being in Cancer, and it passed Jupiter on its way out. There's this activation of what's happening in home life, ancestral, paternal. It's amplifying the maternal nurturing aspect. So it's actually boosting the expanded wisdom of Jupiter, which is in Cancer, expanding the wisdom. So it's asking all of us to look at this through wise eyes. Look through your third eye. Remove yourself out of the way. Remove your personal perspectives, your personal biases, your unhealed wounds. It's asking you to really look at it and nurture it. It's time to lick your own wounds. Lick your wounds, heal your wounds. Heal the masculine in you first. So that once you do it within yourself, it expands and you'll be able to heal those wounds with others outside of yourself. Ashe, welcome in. DR, welcome in. Send some hearts, tap the heart so more can find this frequency. So in healing and nurturing this divine masculine energy, it has to start with self. And when I say I was really feeling it in this meditation, I felt the heart expand. I felt myself feeling all of these fatherhood wounds, even the masculine in me that was here in a previous lifetime as a man, right? When I was a man in a previous lifetime, even feeling that, I felt all of that activate. And I felt what the nurturing aspect was doing was allowing space for the healing. It says almost as if I could feel the masculine laying his bosom, his head in the bosom of the feminine. And it was this, like this sigh, like I felt a relief. The word that comes up is an ease, if you will. It's almost like an ease in the timeline. It's like this ripple in time and an ease in the timeline that allows through this heart expansion for the divine masculine to breathe, to just be, to even shed tears and say, finally, you see me. Finally, you understand me. I wanted to be understood. I wanted to be seen and known for who I am, but it was masked behind what society programmed us of what a man should be, right? And programmed us to the point where the women, where we turned on ourselves because we turned on the masculine energy within ourselves, right? And decided to disregard the masculine and also lose respect for the feminine, right? When I was having this issue, as I was sharing with you all, when before I got saved, right? Before 2015, when I had my sacred union matrimony, I realized in that moment that I did not respect the masculine. I did not honor the masculine, and I did not respect the feminine. I didn't have a certain, even though I'm a woman, I did not respect the feminine energy to be what the feminine energy should be, the quality. Instead, I resisted it. I didn't like the word submissive but that is because of the program that was put on us to submit to a man that does not respect, to submit to a masculine energy that does not respect the feminine energy. That is perverse as well. It has to be self-respect. It has to be a respect on both ends and an honor of both on both ends, honoring the qualities of both the masculine and the feminine energy by first respecting the qualities. What is the quality of the feminine energy? Do you know? Or do you think that it's just what we've been programmed? Do you know the qualities of the masculine energy for what it is supposed to be, for what it is in existence of universally? Not according to mankind's definition, right? Mankind's definition, our definition is supposed to be an expression of the divine. We're supposed to first understand the divine qualities of the masculine feminine energy, and by understanding it, we respect what we understand. We don't argue with it, we don't debate it, we don't say, well, that's not fair, why does she get to, because believe me, we have these jealousies that come up within our consciousness, right? When we're not in a harmony, whenever you hear that the subconscious mind is closer to the superconscious, right? Let me just speak about it in a conscious aspect, because the consciousness is comprised of three parts: superconscious, conscious, and conscious. The superconscious is the Christ conscious, or what we call spirit. That's your direct connection to spirit. That is the spirit in you, is your superconscious, right? Now the conscious and the subconscious are the two counterparts, the masculine, feminine. The conscious is more of the masculine. It is the thinker, the doer. And we usually operate more through our conscious phase of mind, because that's when we're doing things. We execute things. We get things done through the conscious phase of mind. It is the will to do. That is why the ego mainly rests in the conscious phase of mind. Now the question is, are you operating out of your wise ego or your misappropriated ego? Kemetically said, are you operating out of your Asar, the wise ego, or are you operating out of your Set, the misappropriated ego? Are you Set tripping, or are you the risen Asar? That's the question. That's a whole nother, that's story for another day, just breaking that down. And the subconscious mind is the feminine counterpart. It is the feeler. As we were saying, it is the one that does the understanding. You have the will to do, the will, the sun, and you have the moon, the understanding, the feminine. And so when we understand these qualities, we don't argue about which one is better or why does. It's just the qualities, it's the way that it works. And so the feminine being the receptive. See, if we don't look at gender and we look at, instead of masculine, feminine energy, we look at creative activity. So let's look at the consciousness as the creative activity. Ashe. And let's look at, thank you for the follow. And let's look at the subconscious mind as the receptive activity, right? Let's just use these terms just to kind of take our mind off of male and female for a moment. Let's look at creative and receptive. And so the receptive does what? Receive, as I said earlier, receives information. So if your superconscious mind is spirit, when it needs to drop something to you for you to get it, it needs to drop it into your receptor, into your receptive activity, which is the subconscious mind, which is the feminine. So you see why that is what it is. That is its purpose. The feminine energy is the receptive activity. Its job is to receive the information through the feelings, the sensations, right? And so then the masculine, or let's say the creative's job is to create, right? This is all a part of manifestation. We cannot manifest without receptivity and creativity. And so in your conscious phase of mind, this is your creative activity. Its job is to create, to manifest, to do. This is why we mainly operate out of our conscious phase of mind. It receives instructions from the subconscious, and then it creates in the conscious. Receive, subconscious, create, conscious. Receive, feminine energy, create, masculine energy. That is the harmony between the two. So whenever spirit, aka superconscious, is moving through you, is giving you divine intervention. So whenever we have divine interventions and we get downloads and all of that stuff, it's going to drop where? Let me see if y'all been following along. I'm not even going to say it. Let me see who's been following along. Put it in the chat. Tell me where you think it's going to drop. If spirit, if your superconscious is going to give you a divine intervention, divine inspiration, when spirit is ready to drop you some downloads and all of that, where is it going to drop it? Let me see what you all say first. I want to see which one of the two, the conscious or the subconscious. Let me know, however you want to word it. The creative or the receptive, the masculine or the feminine. Thank you. Let me see, where my participants at? Puja and Shalom. Thank you. The feminine. Anybody else who got an answer? What would you say? Where do you see this information? When spirit is going to drop something in your consciousness, where is it going to drop it? So yes, you got it. The feminine. Thank you. Let me send some hearts right back at you. Loud and obnoxious, right? That's sometimes what's going on in the conscious mind. All of this chatter. That's why we can't hear from the superconscious, because there's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of bickering back and forth. There's a lot of I'm the man, you the woman. I'm the conscious, you the subconscious. There's a lot of this chatter back and forth instead of having a harmony. So yes, puja, the feminine. Puja, it's the feminine, aka the subconscious, aka the receptive activity. So when I'm saying this, because when we understand this, we don't have to battle each other. A lot of times the masculine energy feels displaced. Like, why am I not getting it? Who am I? Chopped liver, super conscious? Why you don't talk to me? You know, instead of recognizing that we're all one. These three parts, super conscious, conscious, and subconscious, is the three in one. It is the Trinity. In the conscious phase of mind, it is the Trinity that is the one. So when you understand your role, let's say within your own mind, allow your consciousness. This is why we got to humbleize the ego. The conscious phase of mind needs not feel left out, because you're the one that does the work. In the subconscious mind, I only receive information. I could receive it so that I could pass it on to you, but I can't do nothing with it. Respectfully so, you are the doer. You get it done, right? And this is where you can take pride in conscious phase of mind. This is where you can take pride in wise ego. This is where you can take pride in man of womb, masculine energy, because you get it done. That's your job within the entire scope of the soul, which is the entire mind, which is the consciousness that I just broke down, the three parts. The super conscious, which is the Christ, which is the spirit, cannot get it done because it needs the body. I'm not going to say cannot, but that's not the way it operates in our threefold being. In our threefold being, we are spirit, soul, body. The spirit needs the soul to transition everything to do it through the body. It's here in a body. We're in a body. So the spirit in and of itself, in the realm of manifestation, needs the manifestation to get it done. That's the body. There's no way around that, right? And so this is why we got to understand the qualities of each one. So you, conscious phase of mind, are the doer to get it done in the body. That's your role. Honor that role. Don't worry about why you not getting the divine. It's not like God loves the feminine more than the masculine. Don't worry about that. We're all part of it. We're all one. It's the inner working of the entire mind. It's the order of operations. So when it drops, it needs a receiver to get it to you. It's talking to you. Don't feel left out. I'm speaking to all of us within our souls, comprised. And I'm speaking to the men sometimes who understand these. There are men who understand this, but then sometimes they get the question of, well, why I'm me, the man who represents the masculine energy, right? Why can't I be more like the woman who gets all of the intuition and all of that, right? And it's to understand, overstand, and understand that the divine is talking to you too. It talks to you through your counterpart. Don't discredit it. And the counterpart has to share what's being given so that you can get things done, because you're all one. We're all one. This is how we overcome the debate, the arguing, the feeling left out, right? Thank you, Daughter of Wands, for following the live. We're talking about nurturing the divine masculine. And so the divine masculine needs to feel this nurturing, because sometimes it's always being overworked, just like how I broke it down in the consciousness, and it feels left out. But we have to remind it. We have to remind it within ourselves. Hey, you're okay. You good. You Gucci. You're nurtured. You got this. You are the doer. You are the head and not the tail. Right? As someone said earlier, Aries is the head. Pisces, which is more the feminine energy, is the tail. And the head eats the tail. For those who know that cycle, it's just understanding the cycle of the beginning and the end, and getting things in the end to bring it to the beginning, however you want to look at it. So we're being called right now. I say all that to say this. Yes, we're being called right now to honor the divine masculine in your own soul's consciousness. So you can honor the divine masculine that exists in your family lineage, through all fatherhood wounds, through all motherhood wounds, but particularly forgiving the fatherhood wounds that get passed down over and over. We're responsible, women in the family, we are responsible for the memory codes, for unlocking certain memories by exposing the wounds, because our wounds are also coming from certain fatherhood wounds, so we need to expose them all. But in a space of forgiveness, in a space of through heart expansion and forgiving whatever it is that has been done physically, literally, metaphysically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, particularly spiritually, because what I'm speaking to you about is spiritual. I'm speaking to you through the energetic body, which is the heart. I'm speaking to you through the energies before they exist physically. And it's what we do in the energetic realm, in the spiritual realm, that presses and plays out in the physical realm through our mental capacities. So we have to do some mental management in our minds, through our souls, with the guidance of spirit on the truths that we behold. It's time to change the perspectives. I know this is not easy. I know, because as I said, I went through it. It's a big pill to swallow, especially when you're still feeling and you're looking on the outside and the external, and you're like, but he did this, and but they did this. Even when we look at society as a whole and humanity, those of us who are learning more about the matriarch and the divine matriarch, and we're looking back and saying, this patriarchal rule messed us up. And so a lot of us, we don't even realize it. We have an issue, again, with more masculine energy because we're mad about this patriarchal, this misappropriated patriarchal rule from the age of the ram that messed us all up, that purposefully and intentionally took out the divine feminine and destroyed the divine feminine. Did he do that? Yes, he did. I'm speaking from the macro to the micro, y'all. Did he do that? Yes, he did. Did he abandon his family? Yes, he did. Did he abuse you? Yes, he did. Did he cheat on you? Yes, he. All these things that men do, that the patriarch, did they do it? Yes, they did. Did you, in your own masculine energy, women, did you disrespect, did you turn on yourself in your own masculine energy? Did you egoically, with misappropriated ego, do yourself wrong? Yes, he did. Now it's time to forgive. Now it's time to nurture, because he did it out of a space of misunderstanding, not having understanding, not having the feminine nurturing aspect to give him understanding. How can he be understanding without any nurturing? Understanding is a feminine quality. It comes from the nurturer. So we need to nurture, to breathe life into his understanding, so that he can feel that love. And I'm talking about the he that is in you and me, the he that is in society, that needs to be re-looked at. We need to respect. Respect just means to re-look. When we talk about spect, what are these? My spectacles. Re means to do again. So when we respect things, a lot of times we think respect is just about honor, and respect is really, at a literal aspect, is asking you to re-look at something. So respect yourself. Respect the divine masculine. Re-look at him. The consciousness, the conscious phase of mind, the ego, the creative activity. Re-look at him. Ashe. Tap that in, tap that in, tap the hearts. Let me hear from some of you. How many of you are feeling the forgiveness of this divine masculine? How many of you have seen this fatherhood wound? Tap in, tap in. Hey, Grimmy. Say, hey, auntie. Hey, nephew. Hey, nephew, I forgive you and the fatherhood wounds that flow through you. And all the women here too. I'm sending all that giving love forward to the fatherhood wound in us all. Re-look at him. Ashe, that part. We're here to respect and re-look at him, to truly nurture him with loving eyes, not look at him like you downright dirty dog, even though they have done some things. Ill, patriarchal rule, you dirty dog. You messed us up. You killed my divine feminine. You killed my matriarch. Yes, you did. And now I'm going to look at you with nurturing eyes. And I'm going to restore the memory codes, because when I re-nurture you, I remember you. I find the dismembered pieces of you, and I remember them. This is what Aset did. This is the Aset in your soul, is to find the dismembered pieces, to remember them, to reconnect them for the birth of Heru. And that's your superconscious. So if you want to know how to tap into your superconscious, it's the responsibility of the feminine. Yes, I said it. And for the women that may feel like, why I gotta do it? Because it is our role. Remember, when you understand your roles, you are the one feminine energy that receives the codes and the information. So it is your job to explore that sensation, to share that sensation. It is your job to pass it along. Don't be stingy. Don't keep it to yourself because you feel like the masculine doesn't deserve it. Release the masculine. Nurture, because in that nurturing, you unlock the codes. You unlock the memory codes. That's what's really giving him breathing room and space to expand in his heart, to find that understanding. Yes, Royale, it is our responsibility. I want us to own that in our mind. So I want to speak to all of us now through our soul. At a very soul level, I want us to say within ourselves that it is my responsibility as the feminine energy to forgive the masculine energy in me. It's not going to get done if my feminine does not nurture my masculine. I forgive myself for any misappropriations in my ego, in my masculine, that has led me somewhere, that has led me astray or got me in some kind of whatever it was. Remember, we got to hold accountability and responsibility for ourselves, regardless of what was done to us. We are responsible for how we showed up. We are responsible for how we internalized it in our consciousness. And just as a physical masculine may have abandoned you, so too have you, the masculine energy in you, abandoned you. Now it's time to forgive. And that's from a soul level. Now on the next tier, I need us, the women, to say to the men that I forgive you. I nurture you. I leave space and room for you to tap into these memory codes. I remember you. I nurture you, regardless of how you have shown up or the lack thereof. I nurture that fatherhood wound in you. And I depersonalize from that thing that is on the outside to nurture you. That's from man to woman. And then on the next tier, I want us to collectively, the collective women in the family, this is at a familial level. This is to cut it in the bloodline. We need to also say, as the women, it is our responsibility to nurture you, the men in the family, regardless of what you have done and what has been done to you. I nurture you. I forgive the fatherhood wounds in you and that you may have perpetuated because of how it exists in you. I see you, I remember you, I nurture you, I honor you as the feminine, the females in the family. And now on the next tier, ancestrally, deep into the ancestral lineage, the female ancestors, it is our job in our ancestors to nurture the masculine ancestors, the matriarchal energy, to nurture the patriarchal energy, regardless of what you have done. And now at a society level, at the most outer part here, society within humanity, we, the matriarchs of society, we forgive the patriarchs of society. We forgive you for what you have done from the age of the ram. We nurture the true divine masculine. We nurture the divine patriarchal energy that we seek to see in harmony, that sits on the throne of a divine sacred union within. As within, so without. As above, so below. Show me what I need to know. Give it to me, what you say. Give it to me. That's what I heard. Give it to me, what you say. Don't hold back. Right? And that's what I have to share with you all. I'm going to take a break because I know I was going to do, I'm double live-in here and double live-in later. So it's like a quadruple live. I have another live that I'm going to do later. I'm going to take a break and we're going to talk about the moon and this doomsday. For those of you who may have seen that video, we're going to talk more about that. Black Star, welcome in. Who you are, how you be. We just together talked about the divine masculine energy, and together we just shared our forgiveness for those whose heart was really there. Let it be so, and let it be that what we have done, we've severed those cords, those ties. Feel the release right now as we allow our divine feminine to nurture our divine masculine. And I want us to kind of breathe into that, because there's nothing like the breath of life, the Sa, Sakem, Sahu. The Sa is the breath of life. The Sakem is the energy wheels, the life animated, life force energy animated through you. And the Sahu is the risen spiritual breath of life. Ashe. So let's now just honor that in our bloodline, honor that in the souls, in our minds, in our entire minds, in our families, in our bloodline, and in humanity. So let's just take a deep breath and allow that to move through us. See your crowns opening up, and allow that information, all that we have gathered, all that we have shared and unlocked right here and now, the realizations and the resonance that we've gotten to truth. Allow that to move through our core beings, from the crown down through the soles of our feet into the earth. So take a deep breath in and allow that breath of life to flow. Sa, Sakem, down into the earth, and bringing it back up into your risen light. Sahu. Just sharing that love and light with you all. There's nothing like a deep breath. That breath is the bridge of life, crossing from the physical into the spiritual and the spiritual into the physical. Let that breath of life be able to move with you from this moment on. We shall never be the same in regards to masculine, feminine energy. From this moment on, we take responsibility in our feminine energy to be the nurturers. We solemnly swear to honor and respect the feminine energy that is going to honor and respect and nurture the masculine energy in all its glory, to have a sacred union in our unfolding story. Ashe, ashe, ashe. So with that, before you go, what I would share, this was another part of the story that I didn't get to tell y'all. It's so funny, after I listened to that and felt all of that in the meditation, I opened up this book that I wrote. This was like in 2024. I almost forgot that I wrote it. And this is how I know it was an alignment. This was an alignment. This was an assignment. I opened the book and the page opened up to messages to 3 particular masculines in my lineage, right? To my father, and my uncle, right? Which is my biological father, my father who raised me, which later on down the line come to find out that he's still blood. So weird. We're still connected through my mom's side of the family, like distant cousins or something like that, right? This is in Jamaica, so y'all know the island's small, it happens. So either way, having a message as they came through, they all crossed over, they all are on the other side, and as they came through, my page literally opened up. Like, I'm gonna show y'all, like I just wrote it down, like, literally messages. I'm not reading all of that to y'all, but I'm gonna share to y'all what stood out as a message that will be helpful to all of us. And these were messages from the paternal, from the father. So as I got the dream, as I had the dream to respect the fatherhood wounds, as I listened to that message, that really put me in that space in my expanded heart to literally feel the forgiveness and have that nurturing happen, then I opened this up. And I saw, and there's no such thing as a coincidence. See, the wind just picked up and I saw these messages. So what I'm gonna share with y'all is a message, not the whole thing, just snippets, for whoever this may help in what they're doing within their own family, within their own home, as you're working through um, your feminine nurturing your masculine. So from my paternal father, this was some of the things that came from him. I'm just going to read some. A question was, what do we have for the youths, the children? You know, in Jamaica, that's what they call them, the youths. All right. He wants soul sovereignty for them. Soul sovereignty for them, right? This is coming from a crossover paternal ancestor, right? Another message was, be the example with the family when you're out on the street. So whoever that is for, especially for those of you who are operating in the fifth dimension, in the next timeline, he's saying be that example, right? Don't worry about trying to fix people. Be that example. Encourage them in bringing out their gifts more as they are coming online. For a lot of the children and the youths, their gifts are coming online, so encourage them in bringing them out. This is more important than academics. That was part of the message. So these spiritual gifts and things like that that are coming online, this is more important. And I'm saying this to respect. I'm sharing this with you all to even respect that masculine, as they have passed on and wanting to do right in the ancestral realm. You know, what they couldn't do while they were here, what they're now sharing that can help, right? Also, expose them to the world with wisdom, exploring their gifts. This is for the children. Again, the message for the children coming from the masculine. Expose them to the world with wisdom, exploring their gifts, meaning allow them to explore their gifts and expose them to the world with wisdom, right? Don't just throw them to the wolves in the world. Explore the world in wisdom. Another thing was that the arrogance and ignorance that runs in the family hinders them. Now, this is particularly for me, but I'm sharing it because I know it is also, it goes for others who may have this in their family. This was coming from that paternal. There was an arrogance and an ignorance, right, that runs in the family, and that hinders the lineage. It will hinder the children. So do your best to remove the arrogance and the ignorance wherever you see it. And that does tend to be a masculine thing, because the arrogance of the ego a lot of the times, right? And what he personally told me was that it runs in him, which is why he was a hermit, which is true, because he was that hermit. And that's it. The rest is very personal. So I was just sharing what is not so, personal, that can be expansive for others. So he emphasizes instilling soul sovereignty in the youth, being an example as a family. Focus on your immediate family. That was another important part of the message. I know a lot of us are looking at what's going around in all of our families. Focus on the immediate family. The most you can do for your lineage is to expose the youth to the truth. The most you can do for your lineage is to expose the youth to the truth. So you probably can't fix certain things with the other people in the family, cousins, aunties, uncles, elders, but expose the truth to the youth. Meaning, just as he said, focus on your immediate family. Tell them the truth. Your children, speak to your children about the things that you have seen in your parents, in your father, in your mother, in your uncle. Unhealed wounds, things that were done to you that you maybe don't feel comfortable talking about. Talk about it with the children. They need to know the truth. You may think it's a secret. It may be embarrassing to you. It is freedom for them. It is liberation for them. You untie them in the bloodline by exposing them to the truth. Um, and that was it for that. The other one, let me see if there was anything here that was pertaining to anybody here. No, this was all personal too. This was all personal to me. That was from my father that raised me. The uncle, these were three men. You see how they come in threes? These were messages from three men. Both my fathers had passed, the biological and the one that raised me, and then my uncle. So there was something important, I know, in one of my uncle's messages. He had a lot of guilt, which I understood, and he was letting me know about that. But there was something. Okay, this is just to give you an example of showing you what the feminine nurturing can look like. So when he came to me, I'm gonna give you there was a little personal parts in order for you to understand how I was able to nurture on my end. Even though he's in the ancestral realm, I was able to heal. We can heal and nurture down the bloodline, by the way. So he was letting me know that there was guilt, right? Letting me know about his familial guilt, which he did. He did a lot of bad things while he lived here. So he was letting me know about that guilt and how it is what he suffered even in his transitioning. He also let me know that's what was happening with his children because of his guilt. Now, these are things that we pass on. Because of what we've lived in our life, we pass them on to our children, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So he saw that that's what they were struggling with. In letting me know that, this is what I told him, and this is just to exemplify to you all what the nurturing can look like. I told him that I understood this guilt that he speaks of, and how I knew it is a guilt. It was a guilt of greed, which is what he had, that he has had for a long time through his insecurities and not feeling good enough and overcompensating in it. I told him that although he has done unforgivable things that I have not forgiven, I truly forgive him and choose not to hold his light in any negative vibrations, right? This is speaking to in spirit in the ancestral realm. Believe me, just because they pass, it's not over. So if there is anyone that has passed, if you feel like, well, it's too late, my father has passed, it's not too late. If you feel like it's too late, my uncle, whoever that is, it's not too late. And even though they had done unforgivable things, because my uncle has done unforgivable things, right? I released him. And this is what the nurturing looks like. I forgive you. I forgive who you are, right? Even though what you did is unforgivable, and I do not forgive what you have done. This is why I said, in us nurturing the masculine energy, don't get it twisted. Don't think it means we're letting somebody off the hook. First of all, it's not our job to let people off the hook. That's not our job. That's the law of karma. That is the law of the universe. It's not our job to uphold anything or let anyone off the hook. First of all, let's get that out of our mind. That is very egoic. It is egoic of us to think. It is a misappropriation of the ego to think that that's our job. You don't let nobody off the hook, as well as you are not the punisher of others, right? So it was in letting him know, although that act is unforgivable, whatever that people have done, you're not excusing the behavior, but you are forgiving them in love. You are releasing them. You are holding their vibrations in the light of love, whether they have transitioned or not. That's what this nurturing looks like, if I can sum it up. You are holding their vibrations in the light of love, because every single one of us is a light body, whether it's dimmed or very, very bright. We are all stewards of the light. We are all children of the divine. We are all parts of the one mind consciousness. Some are just very far removed. So what we do is we hold others in a vibration of light. We hold their vibrations in positive light, positive vibrations. That's what the nurturing does. And so you can say it with words, you can say it to their face, you can say it, you can speak in the spiritual realm. You can keep it within yourself. You can write it down, but you want to at least acknowledge that in through this nurturing that I forgive you, meaning I give love forward. Your acts were terrible, but I'm not holding you to your acts. I'm going to nurture the innocence of your soul, because somewhere in you there is an innocence of your soul that you forfeit. And so I'm going to hold you in the light of truth. Ashe? Let me see what some of you are saying. Sharing ancestral messages on healing. Yes, I have. And this is why, for those of you who want more, who want to tap into this, message me if you are for the retreat, because we're doing an ancestral passage retreat, and we're definitely going to tap deeper into this, more than what you're hearing right here. So you can only imagine what that's going to be. We're going to understand deeper our ancestral lineage and connection deep in the bloodline. Focus on your face. On your immediate family. Yes. Yes, God. Focus on that. Expose the truth to the youth. Yes. Tell the children the truth, as Bob Marley said, right? Thank you, Sistar, for operating from alignment. I'm grateful to catch this so unexpectedly, but I'm so in so much purpose. You're welcome, Danny. Ashe, Ashe. I'm glad you could be here and catch it right when you can. And what is for you is for you, and cannot be untrue, right? Cannot be undone. Be the example. Ashe, Ashe. Let me make sure I catch your messages. Holding them in the vibration of love. Yes, that's what we're doing. What was the story that was passed down? Yes, that's what we're asking. What was the story that was passed down? Louise Hay has a meditation that you can visualize your parents and children. Thank you for that. So for anyone who wants to know, Louise Hay has a meditation. If you haven't heard of Louise Hayes, look her up. She talks about the pattern. Like, what is the pattern? What is the story that was passed down? It's a pattern in your bloodline. It's a pattern in your consciousness. It's a pattern. It's a story that keeps going, that we keep perpetuating. So Louise Hayes really finds a way to find that pattern and then speak to that pattern in a positive light, because it's the negative pattern that holds your soul in a particular space, right? That you can visualize your parents, yes, and your children. So thank you for those of you who came through. Like I said, I'm gonna take a little break. If anyone who's up late for my late night vibers and whatnot, I'll be back on faithfully if I get some moon action, because we had an overcast all day. So if I get the moon out, just like last night, we'll do a live under the moon, talking a little bit more about this moon, this full moon, and what has happened with the message that I gave about doom. That doomsday is a preparation for the birthday. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, I left that video today too. I dropped 2 videos before I did this live. So if you don't get a chance, if you get a chance to go to see the video, what time? Let me see. Right now it's 10:55 my time. So I'm gonna take a nice, probably 2-hour break. Get something to eat, do some things with the children, because we're pushing time, and this is afternoon. So even though it's late, it's afternoon for me. So we're gonna be up all night. And I need to do a video about time pushing for those of you who may want to know a little bit more about what that is. So yes, I'm saying about it's 11 now. Let's call it 11. So about 12, 1 o'clock. I'm gonna say about 1. Look out. 1, no later than 2. Look out for the live. I'm gonna take a nice little break. Yeah, let me say 3. Let me not say 2 hours. I'm gonna say 2, since I keep seeing 3 right here. I'm gonna give it 3 hours. So for those of you who are up late, who may be passing through, go ahead and join us in. And if not, you can always pick up the live later. I think you could find it on the page or whatever. So thank you all. Thank you, God. Faithfully, you can meet us back here, and we chop it up some more with a double live vibe. Ashe, peace, love, and light. Remember, let your divine feminine nurture the divine masculine. It is your responsibility. Ashe.